So yeah, thanks guys. Welcome to our class. So yesterday class, what we did this class, we discussed. Uh, let Okay. Bogus is uh, hello. Hello. Okay, fine. He just now he called me. He's out of session. Okay, fine. Okay. So so you are able to hear my voice, right?
Yes, yes.
Now
I'm
we are
able to
able to
hear.
hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you are able to hear, right? Fine. So
Yeah, yeah, yes.
sorry. Yeah, previous class uh, what we discussed the Spring data, Spring Boot with the MapDB we done. So now we know all the project structure, and now we are going to integrate a MySQL database with the Spring Boot application. So how we are going to integrate MySQL database with the Spring Boot with the help of Spring Data, with the help of Spring Data. So what is the Spring Data, and what are the things the Spring Data is offering to the Spring Boot application? We will see now. So before integration of MySQL with the Spring Boot, so we need to know a little bit or some information about a Spring Data. So that is what we are going to see now. And after that, see, this is one of our friend, one of my colleague, one of my senior colleague is suggested. So whenever we are doing this REST kind of URIs, so we need to give slash some article or some application name slash employee. This is employee service, right? So slash employee, this is a post, which means post means create employee. Put means this will be update employee. So get means we need to get the slash employee slash id. So these are the same urls, right? Even though these are same urls but different operations. So whenever you are sending an id from here, automatically it will go to the delete. Whenever you're sending id from here, it will automatically go to the get method. So that is what we need to give in a unique way the these URIs or endpoints of the REST. So that is the standard formation of REST URLs. So that is what suggested one of my friend. So that is the reason I changed like this. Fine. So coming to Spring Data. So
So
if you
this
open
was
this,
this was like this only, no, before also, or what is the
this
difference?
was like no. Previously I changed this, but we need to follow this pattern only. So that is the reason I mentioned.
You mean the
This
order
also
post, put, get, then delete later on?
no, not order. It will become any order, no issue. But
Okay.
whenever you you want to update the whenever you want to update the employee, you should have a existing employee, right? First of all, we
Mm.
need to create a post. So later we can later we can do any of these three operations based on our interest are required.
Okay.
But first of all, we need to the record should be existed, right? Then only we
Yeah.
can do all these three operations.
Yes.
So
Yes.
based on your choice and based on your requirement, you can do any operation in anywhere, no issue.
Okay.
Okay. So coming to Spring Data. So let me open that Spring Data. So what is this? Sorry, what is this Spring Data? So Spring people is provided. Spring people are provided the Spring Data. On top of every database, they created a wrapper called repository. They created a wrapper called crowd repository. One is the crowd repository, one is the pagination and sorting repository. Okay, this crowd repository, will extend from the JPA repository. So this JPA repository is nothing but a Java persistence API. So Java persistence API, whenever we are going to save or whenever we are going to do some database transactions, we can also use this JPA repository instead of directly connecting with the database. So the if you are connecting this JPA, it is having some predefined methods. Predefined methods. What are the predefined methods? We will see now. So this is the RDBMS database. RDBMS database in the means. So It may be MySQL, it may be DB2, it may be Oracle, it may be any other databases of SQL databases. So that is what relational database management system, RDBMS. Fine. So if it is a NoSQL database, NoSQL databases, we have a MongoDB, we have a Neo4j, we have a CouchDB, we have a Cassandra. So different kind of NoSQL databases are there. So on top of each and every database, so all the relational databases, why? Because relational database in same pattern, right? So we have a JPA repository, and these are the MongoDB and the NoSQL database. There is some syntax and way of storing documentations, way of storing JSON documents or normal documents or plain any other formats, different to different each database in a NoSQL different formats. So that is the reason. If it is a MongoDB, we have a Mongo repository. If it is a Cassandra, we have a Cassandra repository. So like that, if it is a Neo4j, we have a Neo4j template or Neo4j graph repository. So like that, we have a different repos with respect to NoSQL databases. So coming to RDBMS. So previously, earlier days, what we did, Java database connectivity, Java JDBC, Java database using JDBC, we are connecting a database and we are opening the connection using the connection object, and after that statement, and after the prepared statement. So whenever you are writing a static queries, you are using a prepare statement object, and whenever you are creating a dynamic queries, you are going to use a prepare statement. So those kind of things we need to do manually. We need to write a manual code, and also if it is a select command, you need to write the select star from employee, like that you need to write. So those kind of manual work is removed when we are using this repository. So repository is coming up with the bulk of predefined operations like save entity, save all entities, get entity, get all entities, update entity, update all entities, delete entity, delete all entities, and delete batch, save batch. So some predefined methods are there. So you don't need to write any queries. Simply use that method from this repository. It will automatically work. So that is what Spring Data is offering. So
Raju,
that we are,
uh,
yeah, tell me.
Raju, sorry to interrupt. So if we wanted to access, this is like straightforward. Like if we wanted to delete an ID or like
Ah.
name or something, some direct queries is there. Consider I have like 4 or 5 tables. I need to add a join queries. So in that
Good
case,
question. Good question. Very good question. So in that case, we can write a custom query. That custom query is allowing this repository. See, I will tell you 1 hour whenever I am explaining all the classes, I will tell you. So in this repository, so our employee repository should extend this repository, right? So then only we can have this implement this repository. Then only we can have all the features in our employee repository. So in the employee repositories, you can write the queries on top of that each and every method. You can write at the rate query is an annotation is there. In that annotation, you can write the SQL queries, whether it is a join, whether it is a complex query, any kind of query based on your requirement. So that will be work. No issue.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
fine.
yeah. When that part comes right, like you can, I have some queries there. Like yeah, I'll ask that. Yeah, sure.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
So fine. So Spring Data is a high-level Spring Source project whose purpose is to unify and easy the access of different kind of persistent storages, both relational database system and NoSQL database storage, NoSQL data stores. So that is what we discuss now. So with every kind of persistent store, your repository called DAO, like DAO are typically CRUD operations, and in a single domain object. Find the methods, sorting and paginations. Okay, fine. Whenever we require a pagination, we can do. So Spring Data provides the generic interfaces for these aspects: code repository and pagination and sorting repository, as well as the persistent storage specific implementations. Fine. So whatever we discussed here, that is what they mentioned some in a paragraph. Fine. So if we are using Java persistence API at the rate entity. So at the rate entity is nothing but our user class we are treating as a database entity or database model. So on top of this, you can give the at the rate table. So previously we are configuring these things in a XML file, right? So now we don't want to configure these things in a XML file. Simply by giving these annotations, we can define our user as a table. So name is the user table, user. Some fine. So @ID. So every table has a unique primary key. So that primary key we can define in terms of @ID. So we need to define a @ID, whatever we are giving a chance to primary key of our variables. So ID is the primary key. Obviously, we given @ID. So here is the very important. So now you are going to save your data in the database, right? So you need to tell why, because we are enabling, we enable this user poso is the user table. So if it is the table related information is having, we need to tell what is the column name. Otherwise, it will take same name as a column name. So we can define our own column name also. @column name equals to F10, which means first name. So our first name, yeah. So like that we can we can define our column name also. So the database user poso variables to the database columns, we can give the mapping, so that whatever we are giving the same name, it will store in terms of FM. So like that we can define our entity using this Spring Data JPA. Fine. And MongoDB, if it is a MongoDB, like this we need to mention whenever we are entering into the MongoDB, I will tell you. So this is what a Spring Data. So up to here, do you have any doubts up to here? Hello?
No. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
fine.
no. I think
So,
when we do practically, I think we understand more.
Correct. You can understand. But while we will do while debug through the with the debug mode. See, let me open the C. So this is the project. So Spring Boot MySQL JPA hybrid cloud operation. Fine. So first of all, we need to open the pom.xml. So what is the pom.xml? So what are the things we need to uh, we need to add a dependencies as part of this. So here you know Swagger, right? So for the front end side, sorry, for the documentation and the user interface to test our APIs, we need to use Swagger. So this is already we discussed earlier class. So we need web application. We need starter web. So that starter web will take care of our controller related actions and the controller related annotations and controller related all the features we need to use at the REST controller, at the Spring Boot application, all REST related jar files it will be provided. And we are using a JPA, Spring Data JPA. So the Spring Data JPA. So this is what one of the starter, and this is to relate to tell association between a Java model and object database column. So meanwhile, we should add the dependency related to MySQL database. So this is the MySQL connector. So previously before Spring, we should add this version of MySQL server. But in Spring, you don't need to add any version of any dependency. By default, it will take care of a required compatible version. Dynamically, it will decide, and dynamically it will download it whenever the first time of running our application. The second time onwards, it will use the local see if see manual dependencies. It will take the whenever you are running a application first time, it will take those dependency jar files and it will maintain in a one common place called local repository, local dependencies. So from second time onwards, it will use this one instead of downloading again from the internet. So that is what the Marvin dependencies. And MySQL connector, right? Let me open MySQL database also. Fine. So these are the two things. One is this one is JPA. These are the two things we added as part of this application. Fine. So now you can open application data properties. So here is the application data properties. See, port number, we can give our port number based on the number. So this is the data source URL. Spring is providing some key called data source URL where we can connect our database. So JDBC colon MySQL. So if it is a MySQL, you need to give MySQL. If it is a Oracle, you need to give Oracle. Like that, we need to give our SQL database. So /localhost and 3306. The default port number of MySQL is 3306. This is the port number. And we need to give the schema. So whatever we are created schema inside the database, we need to give this so that the URL directly connected. So we don't need to write any
Raju, you have
conflict.
already installed MySQL in your system, or?
Yes, yes, yes. We need to install the prerequisite of this application. We need to install MySQL.
Okay. And once we install
Yeah.
only, then we know this link, or this link is common to everyone.
This link is a common to everyone. So this the database schema will be vary whenever
Okay.
you are creating a. So up to this, it is common. But if you see here, if you see here in the internet, so what is the MySQL your data source URL? What is the MySQL DB URL? So if you type like this, it will give JDBC :MySQL, JDBC
Okay.
:MySQL, Sono in the sense the schema name. So up to here the same. Up to here the Unix.
So
it is a common.
while installing MySQL only, I will create my own schema, and that schema name I will give here, or?
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So that schema, how to create a schema, I will tell you. And also whenever you are creating a MySQL data, you are installing a MySQL database, the by default it will come one more user interface to the database that is called MySQL Workbench. So let me open that MySQL Workbench so that you will understand. So how to create a schema, I will show you. Good question. So just I'm opening the MySQL Workbench. So you can. Fine. So whenever you are opening a MySQL Workbench, it looks like this. So fine, it is look like this. If you see here, there is a two panel. One is the left navigator. Here is the we can navigate all the databases. The default database system and DB some world. So these are the default database will come with the MySQL. And here is the we can show the we can run the queries to select the tables and all. So let me create a database. Create a schema. So if you right click here in the left side panel, so right click and it will show create schema. So you can create a schema here. You can give the schema. So what is the database we are going to let me give TRAI training POC is the database. So training POC is the database. Let me give small letters. POC is our database. Just I'm applying and yeah, apply. Yeah, finish. You can click the finish. So now the training POC database is created. So let me copy this. Give the database here and give the database name here. So sorry, where is our sorry, yeah, give the database here. So here, so training the training POC is the schema name. You got it? How to create create a schema and how to
Yes.
and the username and password. So username and password by default MySQL will take the root and root, or you can give the root and root whenever the installing MySQL database in your local. So root and root. Fine. Now you can, and this is the one statement. Spring data hibernate DDL auto. DDL auto means data definition language. In SQL basis we have a four kind of some definitions: DDL, DML, DCL, some different kind of definition kind of commands. So this is the data definition language related to database. So how data definition it means create and drop. So the Spring data it is reading this Spring JPA, right? Spring JPA hibernate DDL auto create and drop. So whenever you are running your application, it will automatically create the table based on the schema configuration. In this schema, it will automatically create the table. What table it will create? How the Spring container will know what table I need to create. So if you open the entities, employee, in this employee table name, we already given employee, and the schema name. This is optional. You can give or no need. So I'm removing the schema here. I'm removing the schema here. The schema already we defined in a application.properties. Application.properties. So training POs, application.properties. Fine. So now, okay, fine. Now, based on the inside the schema, it will create a drop. Drop in the sense whenever you are stopping the application, automatically deleted the data inside the table. So it will create the table whenever you are running a application. It will create the table. So after creating table, you can comment out this so that your data will be saved in the table. It is the deleting. So first time we need to enable this one. And also we need to add the driver class name to connect our application to the database. We need a driver. So this is also common for all the MySQL. If it is a MySQL, Commonwealth MySQL JDBC driver. If it is a Oracle, Commonwealth Oracle JDBC driver. So we have a different drivers with respect to database. So that is what here. And also here is the dialect. So dialect is nothing but a, so each database is having their own syntaxes. So if you see MySQL and Oracle, the database are same, they will behave same, but the writing query is a little bit syntaxes difference. So whenever we are writing in SQL language, SQL query, the respect to database language, the dialect will convert to the database understanding language. So that is the reason we need to we are using this MySQL dialect. If it is SQL, if it is a Oracle database, we need to use Oracle dialect. So like that, dialect will take care of to convert the respect to database understanding syntaxes to from our SQL queries. So SQL to respect to database syntaxes will change by using this dialect. We can change. So that is what dialect. So main these are the very important. So now we can see entity. Now we can see entity. See entity. I already told you. So employee table name we can give here. It is the entity by default serialized. Why? Because it is traversing our application to the database. So through network. So we need to serializing while traversing the data. So that is the reason we implement the serializable class. A serializable interface.
Raju, can you explain what is serializable? Why we should serialize the things which is coming?
Very good. See, whenever we are traversing the data through the network. So the data we should not traverse the data by English statements. We should traverse the data in terms of zeros and ones. That is nothing but a binary operation or binary format. Or that binary format is to convert that binary format from binary format to our English kind of statements. We should use serialization. Serialization is nothing but our English statements of Java commands or Java statements will convert it into one and zeros of a binary format with the help of serializable object, with the help of serializable interface. So that is the reason our why, because up to here from controller to service to the repository up to here the data will be coming here only. But from the model to it will transfer through network to the another host, right? So that is the reason we need to use the serializable.
Okay.
Fine. So now ID is the column ID. Column ID. This is the Java object model ID. This is the table column ID. We are defining a column ID also. This is the primary key. Whenever you are defining a @ID is nothing but a primary key of this table. Primary key of this table. So that is the reason we need to use this ID is nothing but a Java persistence ID. If you see here, Java persistence ID table. This is related to JPA. Okay, fine. Now the column name of table, first name, the column name of table, last name. This is the uh, uh, Java object variable. This is the table column. So like that, we need to define some columns also, respect to columns also. If you are not defining column, the same name it will be taken as a column. So that is the reason we can define columns also on top of each and every field. Fine. Now coming to repository. Once you have a model, now you can create a repository. So what is the repository? On top of repository, we need to add a repository, and this is an interface. This is the JPA repository. Extend the JPA repository. I already told you, right? So if it is an SQL databases, we can use JPA repository of we need to give our entity. So what entity we are going to, on what entity we are going to do the persistence, which means all the transactions. So obviously employee entity, why employee entity? In employee entity, we have a database table name, so that all the employee related operations, by using this employee entity, we can save the details, we can delete, we can update, we can get the details from this employee table. So that is the reason we need to give the employee entity to the this repository. So that repository will take care of by doing all the persistence transactions. Fine. What is this? This is nothing but our primary key of data type. So if you see here, what is this data type? Long, right? So that is the reason I'm defining object poser comma or entity comma entity data type of primary key. So that is nothing but a long. So it is expecting like this. If it is a string, we can add string. Fine. Now you are asking some query, right? Something you are asking. So if you see here, so if you write here some public employee public employee get employee. If you define like this, so you can write here query. You can write here at the rate query. So now whatever you are thinking to write query, you can write select star from. So like that, if you want to write a join query, you can write the join query. Automatically the result will be come here. So like that we can write the queries. But now,
Raju,
tell me.
one more doubt. Sorry to interrupt. We select star
you
from
can ask.
employees. Select star from employees. This is an employee repository. So we are giving straight away select star from employee. I need to join a query with a different table. Consider user table. And it has a separate user repository that also extends JPA repository. But here I wanted to write which joins the user table as well as this employee table. So in that case, what to do?
See, even though it is having user table and employee table, right? So which means which one is parent and which one is child? Obviously, user is a parent, employee is an object, employee is a child. Assume. So you need to add this as a variable. This as a variable in your user table. For example, employee and employee address. In that case, right? So you can add here. How we are adding a variables here. The same way you can add in this poso address here. So instead of string, you can give the object here. Object. So that you can add object of as a foreign key here, so that address object will be available. Then you can write in this employee join query, delete employee where employee id equals to employee id, and also employee id dot equals to address dot id. So address object details also we can delete. So like that we can add.
Yeah.
That is nothing but that is nothing but
later can you
that is nothing but a Hibernate associations. So that is nothing but Hibernate associations. One to one, one to many, many to many, many to many to one. Like that we have a associations. Okay, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Raju. So like later after you complete this, whenever you get time, can you give us an example on each and everything? Practically.
Yeah, I can give all examples on I can give the documentation, SQL documentation. You can work on that, or otherwise we will add the time also. We can work on that. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Thanks.
Fine. So whenever we are creating a repository, it will automatically take the employee as a table, and it will create the employee table. So I will add that also. Whenever we have a time, I will add that all the Hibernate associations. Fine. So now, coming to service, we know, right? So these are the four methods. We already defined these four methods in a previous example. So coming to service IMPL, the service IMPL, now here is the actual implementation will come. So at the rate service, we know on top of service, we need to add at the rate service. Now we need to auto void the repository, employee repository. So employee repository dot save. Are we have a save method here? Are we have a save method here? No, right? How it is coming? We have a save method. We have a save method in JPA repository. So whenever we are extending some super class, so all the methods from the super class are available from the our child class, or all the super methods, super class methods, super interface methods will have the child interface. That is what an inheritance concept in Java. So if you open this repository, you have find all by ID, find all some parameter and normal. So like save is also there, save and flush, and delete a batch, get one. So like that we have a save method also. We have a save method also here. If you say set, yeah, here it is. Yeah, save all. Same method. So if you open this here, think crowd operations repository, cloud repository. So one of the super class is have a save method. So whatever we have a super interfaces, these all are available to the child interfaces. So here is we are using. So like that we have a different kind of predefined methods in the repository, and it's extending classes or it's extending interfaces. All the super methods are available in our employee repository. Fine. Now we are doing this in the service employee repository dot save entity or employee we are giving. So employee repository get one ID, by passing ID we are getting an employee object. So like that update also we are using save only. So in the update and save and we are using save only. You see here, which means in the repositories, only one method will take care of that. So whenever you want to save or update a record, it will internally check. Inside that we are giving here also save. So but uh, by naming convention we are update operation we are giving one update operation, and create operation we are giving create, post and put operations in our controller. But internally it will take save operation only. So every time it will check whether the employee record is existing or not from the database. If it is there, it will automatically update the values. If it is not there, it will create. So that is what the behavior of save method of repository. If you want to submit the same record again, it will not create the duplicate record. Automatically it will update or override the existing record. Fine. This is what delete. So finally, if you come here, controller, if you come here, I already tell you. So I already told you, you need to give the employee /employee and /employee by ID /employee by put, which means update, /employee by delete, which means delete. So this is what we need to do. Fine. Up to now, okay. So if you come here, main class. So before main class, we need to open the data source. So whatever we are giving a key values in our application.properties files. Application.property file. This data source I need, this username and password I need, this driver class name I need. So those classes I need to configure our data source object. So this is what programmatical configuration. So whenever you are giving at the rate value of dollar of something, some array value. So if you are giving like that, it will automatically read this respective key value. What is this database Spring data source URL, right? So what is this data source URL? This Spring data source URL is the key. The value will be our MySQL and related database. It will load. And it will load and it will directly come and sit here. So the data source URL, it will be whatever we defined a value for this key from our application data properties. This will be load to this particular string variable. So like that we are loading this username and password URL. So using this data source object, we are connecting and we are creating a data source object we are returning here. So this is what configuration class. And also we need to see whenever you are using a repositories. So you need to tell to the Spring container, hey, Spring container, I am using a repository, so that we can enable. So simply we are giving @enable JPA repositories. Fine. So where we are having this repositories in the repo folder. In the repo folder, I am giving a repo folder also. And the component scan, where from the component scan is nothing but the common package. What is the common package? com.vcalculator.spring.jpa.card. So after card, we have a different other uh, folders or package names. After card repo, after card service, after card like that, right? So that is the reason I am giving dot star. So it will load all the classes from this base package. Fine. Entity scan. So we are having entities also, entities related to the database. So where we are having entities package, crowd dot entities. So we are loading the entities also with respect to this data source configurations. Fine. Now coming to main class, you already know main class is the Spring Boot application and Swagger enable Swagger too. Why? Because we are using a Swagger now. Now let me run this. First of all, you see here we don't have any table. Here training POC we don't have any table. So let me run my application so that it should create the table. It should create the table in a database. So let me run. Let me run the application. Yeah,
Raju, sorry to. So you were showing some class, application class.
It is started. Yeah, application class. Let me open. Yeah, this is the application class.
This is mainly for which one? Only for Swagger, right?
No, not for Swagger. Not for Swagger. Not for Swagger.
Not this one. Another class, something you showed, right?
Data source. Only for database connection. This is what.
Okay, this is primarily. Yeah. Yeah.
This is primarily for database configurations. Database configuration class simply.
Okay, but directly we can give an application.properties itself, right? I'm just asking, just a doubt.
We can give, but so better to have a programmatical configuration instead of giving a application.properties. So why? Because tomorrow you will give the instead of giving here, tomorrow you will give the external. You can externalize the properties from the here where bootstrap properties or external properties in config. Instead of define here, you can define your cloud area. So at that time it will not work. So you need to load the keys. That is the reason I written like this. Got it?
Okay. Yeah. So when does it we get sorry, Raju, when you are executing, right? Consider you are executing from your Spring Boot application. So when does this class get initiated?
So see, good question. So whenever we are running an application, so it will load all the beans first. So what is bean? So whenever you are using a @ some annotation that is related to Spring application, whenever it is up loading, so automatically it will load the bean and it will register this beans. Okay. So whenever we are using @component scan, whenever you are using @component scan configuration, so this is here we are using some configurations, right? So based on that, if you are using configuration on top of some class, whenever we are running an application, Spring container will read configuration. Oh, this is the class where the developer is writing some configuration related things, so that based on the annotations, it will read and it will register the bean in the container.
So
yes. Fine. So now let me open.
Raju, I have one question. So the Spring application. So when it starts, so immediately it looks for the configuration. So first it goes to the configuration and it sees all the key value pair and it sees if it is registered. It first registers and then only it goes to the next classes, right? For example, Spring or CURD Spring implementation or any other controller, or the other
Correct,
classes
correct,
are
correct.
executed later on. Okay.
Correct. So
Okay.
first of all, it will load all the beans. First of all, it will load
Yeah.
all the beans. Later, it will create an object whenever the request is granted.
So beans here in the case, this is the data source, is this the database registration is the beans.
Correct. So whenever we are
Okay.
giving @bean or configuration on top of class, and rest service, rest controller, service, component. So whatever the annotations that related to Spring application, if you are using, so that all the classes, the container will treat as a Spring components or Spring beans.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what
Raju, one
internal happens.
Okay.
So this bean can so this bean class or the bean method can be done in any class or anywhere. But if we give this bean annotation, the Spring application will first look into the bean and then it will register it first, and then only it will go to the other controller or whatever, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And also the data source object, this is nothing but a data source object, right? So whenever we are creating a bean on top of data source object, the Spring container will take care of to create a connection based on the defined values.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing,
Somesh?
Raju. Yeah. Sorry.
Ask.
Consider we need a database URL, database user and password here, and down we are loading that driver manager that we are creating an object and setting it. So where does this value come from, Raju? Consider I wanted to set a URL user.
Yeah, good question. Where the values are coming up? These values?
Yeah, these values, how does it come here?
Correct. See, whenever we are using some key value pairs from the application properties. So previously, before Spring, how we are loading the values, we are creating some property, prop is equal new property class, property dot get key, like that we are getting here. You no need to use the properties class. Simply you can use @value. Internally it will implement in the properties class. So @value of key, we are giving @value of key. That key is nothing but this key. So automatically this value will loaded. This value will loaded in this string, in this variable.
Okay.
So in this variable, that variable we are using here. This variable is nothing but value of this key.
Yes.
Got it? So that is what Spring auto configurations are happening like this. So the simple thing is you need to understand the behavior of Spring. It is very easy compared to Spring application. Why? Because the Spring application you need to do these configurations, these kind of configurations in an XML file. So here you don't need to write any XML configurations. So we can directly do the programmatic configurations or auto configurations. Right? Fine, right?
Yes.
So,
And the only difference between the Spring Boot with the static DB and this one, I mean, not the only difference, but one of the differences, there we used a model and here we used entity. I think more or less are the same, or because
entity and also we are using repositories right here.
You're right. You're right. But in the entities, but in the entities, if you open entities, in the so there we had only getter and setter, but here we had we have this entity annotation
database
and then
columns.
table and
Database columns. Yeah, database columns. Otherwise, how we can relate the database so that we need to tell in some other way, right? In one way, we need to you need to tell previously how we are configuring. Previously, we are having a Hibernate or HVM configuration file with respect to database table. In that HVM configuration file, you need to give the database model and database column. Name is equal to first name. Name is equal to first name, column is equal to last name, name is equal to department, column is equal to department. Like that, we are configuring in a XML file. Instead of that, simply we are giving column. This is the department. This is the database model, and this is the database column name. Like that, we need to give. Yeah. So now you can see a database table is created or not. So if you refresh this one, refresh. So see the table is coming. The table is coming with the empty data. Got it? The table is automatically created with the help of this statement. With the help of this statement. Got it? Now you can comment out this. Okay, fine. So coming to this one. If you open this, so we have, right? So let me create a record. Let me create a record. So address Hyderabad, email. Just we are checking only positive scenarios only, not any negative scenarios. In exception handling, we will see the all the validations. So here we are say integration of MySQL database with the Spring data and how it is working in a positive, all positive cases we are checking, just executing. So saved successfully. So what are we are giving inside the controller? So inside the controller, this controller is also we explained in the previous class. So inside the controller, it is saved successfully is the response we are giving here. And also if you see the database, if you execute the same query again, the data is coming here. So let me submit again the same request. Let me submit again the same request. So I'm submitted. So is this created a duplicate record? The same record we need to check. So let me check. So obviously we have only one record. So Spring data will take care of the duplications and all. So every time it will check whether the same object is available or not in the database. If it is available, automatically override with the current values. If it is not, it will create a new record simply. So this is what a save operation. So coming to get operation. Already we have a save record, right? So let me open 100. Let me open 100. So let me debug the first. So already we did one operation. Let me debug this one. So get employee, right? So get employee. So let me execute. So fine. So it will come here. So at that path variable. So path variable long. So ID is coming 100. So we need to go inside this. It will come here. Repository get one. Automatically it will give the record from our database. So let me move step over. So now we are getting a record here. So now we are coming in a controller. The controller we are passing the same object in terms of response entity and also status okay. So let me check the front end side. So in our Swagger user interface. So we are getting a information here. So now let me update the record now. Let me update the record. So just give me some values. Fine. Now let me execute. So automatically saved successfully updated. Fine. So let me check here. So see whatever we are updated the values, all the updated values we are able to get. Now let me delete the record. So whatever we did earlier using normal database map database, here we are using a real-time database. Let me execute delete. So deleted successfully. Let me check the database on. So I'm executing the query. So this is automatically deleted. So like this we can do the all operations. So like this we can do the all operations using Spring data and MySQL with the RESTful CRUD operations. So this is what we did here. So apart from this 4 kind of operations, do you have any doubts or any functional or any programmatical doubts? Feel free to ask. I will explain. I will clarify your doubts.
No, as far as
No, no,
Okay,
Raja.
fine. So in that case, I will provide this project to you guys, and I will upload this video in our YouTube channel. You can watch this video as well as please download the project and please install MySQL database in your local and do the same thing in a practice and in a debug mode, so that each and every line you will try to navigate and try to understand the how we are writing the code in a service layer, in a control layer, in repository layer, how we are writing the code, the code.
And
Right.
Raju, so did we the RESTful API over here? We did not see RESTful API today, right? Or
This is RESTful API only, right? This
okay,
is
okay.
controller.
Okay.
See, on top of these things are already discussed in yesterday class. So that is the reason I didn't touch the AutoWide and REST controller. This is already done as part of previous class, right? So here we only concentrated on what is Spring Data, how we are going to configure the values. Same thing. Yeah, these all are we did yesterday. These put and post, all the 4 kind of operations we did as part of our static DB. Now we are adding a runtime or dynamic DB. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, and we will see the next class and tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.